The 8-foot-tall lady. After a trip to the grocery store, Sakura was eager to get home. She carried her groceries in one arm and her baby in the other. But as she's walking through the alleyway, she hears something far in the distance behind her. At first, she isn't able to figure out what exactly the sound is, but suddenly, a shiver courses through her body. She recognizes the sound. "Ko, po, po," said a deep voice. With the hair on the back of her neck standing on end, she turns around and sees a terrifying, yet unfortunately familiar sight. There, a couple yards away, in the alley, stood Hachishakusama, an 8-foot-tall woman with pale skin and long dark hair. She also wore a white-brimmed hat and white dress that made her ghostly appearance even more unsettling. Sakura can't believe it, but as frightened as Sakura is, she can't pry her eyes away. Her memories start to come back to her. The first time Sakura had encountered Hachishakusama was when she was just a child. While Sakura was playing in her grandparents' garden out in the countryside, Hachishakusama appeared out of nowhere and stood over her. Despite her frightening appearance, Sakura tried her best to be cordial, but Hachishakusama would do nothing but stare while eventually repeating the sound, po, 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 po. After disappearing back into the forest, Sakura would go on to tell her grandparents about what had just happened, and that's when Sakura would find out the horrifying truth about the 8-foot-tall lady. Hachishakusama had visited her because she had been chosen to be the 8-foot-tall lady's next victim. Without even wasting a moment, Sakura's grandparents and parents quickly drove her back to the city in order to escape the 8-foot-tall lady. Eventually, the traumatic encounter would become nothing but a suppressed memory. That is, until now. "I thought it was over," Sakura thought to herself. "Why has she returned after all of these years?" And it's at that moment, a grave realization begins to dawn on her. "Oh my God!" She gasps under her breath as she looks at her baby. "She's here to take my child since I escaped." "No, I won't let you!" Sakura screamed at the 8-foot-tall lady. Dropping her bag of groceries while cradling her baby, Sakura runs towards her apartment building without looking behind her. After rushing inside, she heads right towards the window to see if Hachishakusama had followed her. Unfortunately for Sakura, she had. There in the alleyway, Hachishakusama slowly made her way towards Sakura's apartment building. But as Sakura watched, she would see two men in the alleyway walk right past Hachishakusama, not even paying her any mind. "What?" Sakura gasped. "There is no way they would just ignore her like that. The legends must be true. Nobody but those chosen can see her." Sakura watched as Hachishakusama came closer and closer. She was so tall that there was no doubt in Sakura's mind that she was going to be able to climb onto her balcony to try to get in. Despite being overwhelmed with fear, Sakura knew what she had to do. With her baby securely in her arms, Sakura grabbed a large container of salt from the kitchen, along with empty bowls. At that moment, Sakura would suddenly hear po, 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 right outside the window. "Ah. Oh my God, she's right on my balcony," Sakura would realize. Running as fast as she could, Sakura would make her to her baby's room, shutting and locking the door behind her. But just as she does, she would suddenly hear the glass door by the balcony shattering into pieces, followed by the sound of "Pull! Go! Go! She's inside!" Sakura thinks to herself, scared out of her mind. After setting her baby down in the crib, Sakura hastily sets the 4 empty bowls in every corner of the room, filling each of them with salt. She desperately prays that this old superstition will work. The bowls of salt are supposed to keep Hachishakusama at bay. With the now deafening sound of po, 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 repeating right outside of the baby's room, Sakura retreats against the back wall with her baby securely in her arms. Tears run down her face as she feels like her heart is about to jump out her chest. Sakura can do nothing but cower in fear and hope Hachishakusama is kept at bay long enough for her husband to come home. But to Sakura's dismay, the sounds of po, 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 po just get louder. Soon, the door to the nursery starts to shake violently. My God! She's trying to break through, Sakura tells herself. The door frame starts to give in. Why aren't the bows of salt working? Sakura desperately screams, and it's at that moment, looking at the container, that she realizes why. There, labeled right on the outside of it, she sees the word sugar. Sakura's heart drops. Due to being overwhelmed with fear, she had accidentally mistook the container of sugar for salt. Copeless Sakura could do nothing but watch as the door to the nursery eventually is broken through. Eyes wide open, frozen in place, Sakura looked on as Hachishakusama entered. Hachishakusama was so tall, she would hunch over in order to fit inside the room. Sakura helplessly watched as Hachishakusama would come closer and closer until she was hovering right above Sakura and her baby. Po, po, po! Hachishakusama would say as she stared right at Sakura. To Sakura, it felt like she was staring right into her soul. Sakura was stricken with terror as Hachishakusama hunched over more and more, getting closer and closer as she continued repeating the sound of paw, 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 paw. After several minutes, the cops would eventually come. A neighbor had called them due to all the commotion, but upon arriving, the cops would be met with the scene of a trashed apartment. Eventually, they would make their way towards the nursery, and there, they would see, sitting against the back of the room, Sakura cradling something, but instead of a baby, in its place, Sakura was holding a teddy bear. Despite the cops' best efforts to ask her what had happened, Sakura was unresponsive. All she would do was cradle her old teddy bear as she stared into space, while repeatedly muttering the words, Ko, O, Po,